Wrong, insensitive, and unacceptable. That's what a new radio campaign is saying about the name of one of professional sports' most popular franchises, the Washington Redskins.
The commissioner has the opportunity to stand up to bigotry again. He can denounce the racial slur in the team name of the Washington Redskins. That word, Redskins, is not a harmless term. The term Redskins is obviously wrong, insensitive, and unacceptable. We do not deserve to be called Redskins. We deserve to be treated as what we are, Americans.
But it's just not the Oneida Indians who are upset. Some big names in sports journalism are now refusing to even write the team's nickname. Sports Illustrated's Peter King uses the generic Washington football team. ESPN's Greg Easterbrook writes simply Washington. But will the growing pressure be enough to force a name change? I'm joined now by Ray Halbritter, leader of the Oneida Indian Nation, which released that ad you just heard, which aired ahead of the big Monday night football game. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
So what kind of reaction are you getting from this ad?
Well, we have a Change the Mascot, www.changethemascot.org, and we are getting a lot of very supportive comments. A lot of people recognize the significance and the importance of this issue.
You've been fighting this fight for decades, and all of a sudden, some big names in sports journalism say, okay, we get it now. We're not going to use the nickname Redskins anymore in our articles. What do you think, forced that change finally?
Well, I think it's great. I think in this country we've seen different time periods where things have gone along for a certain time, different times in our history, slavery, segregation, a lack of women's rights. I mean, times do change, and that's one thing that's really great about this country, that we can come together and make a change for the better and make a better America.
On the other hand, the Redskins team owner, the billionaire Daniel Snyder, says he'll, quote, never change the name. Does that discourage you?
No, not really. History is littered with people who say never. I learned a long time ago it's better not to say never. But look, this is a very important issue. Using a name like this, especially with our national team, especially at a time like this in our country's history, we want to be unified as American people. We are Americans. We want to, I think names like that, though, I mean, let's be clear. The dictionary defines it as an offensive term to Native Americans. What makes it offensive? It's racial. It's an epithet. It's a slur, and it's dehumanizing, and it trivializes all of the other really significant issues that American Indians face in this country.
So are you going to appeal, or have you appealed directly to Daniel Snyder? Do you plan, and if you have, do you plan to increase the intensity?
Yes, well, I think that's sometimes what's necessary. We just think that it's important to stand up for ourselves, and hopefully the others will, and recognize how important this is to our country. We want to have a country that has unifying language, that has unifying symbols. Sports is can be such a unifying symbol, but in this particular context, it represents the national capital, and I think it sends a wrong message to the rest of the world, especially now when the NFL is seeking to internationalize its brand.
Ray Halbritter, leader of the Oneida Indian Nation, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Still to come in the newsroom, George Zimmerman detained by police once again. Oh, there are new developments to tell you about it. It involves an iPad. We'll talk about that next.